Ladies and gentlemen, Jay Washington here for that hashtag show. I am honored to be sitting here with a comic icon, a man who has co-created characters such as Shang-Chi and has created Drax the Destroyer, Gamora, and one of my favorites, the Mad Titan Thanos, Mr. Jim Starlin. Jim, how are you?
I'm doing good. You forgot Pip the Troll.
And Pip the Troll, who just appeared recently in Eternals.
I've been lobbying for Pip for like about the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And they didn't tell me he was going to be in the movie. And I got invited to the premiere, but I couldn't go to it. And I finally missed one of the premieres, and he shows up.
And how did you feel when you heard that they finally had put Pip the Troll?
Well, I couldn't find a picture of him, because they were keeping everything under wraps. It was easy to find a picture of Eros.
Yes.
But I finally found this picture of Pip that was from some design shop, and it wasn't from the one from the movie.
Uh-huh.
It was like this really handsome, beefed up.
That's not Pip the Troll.
Yeah, no, that's Pip the Hunk.
Right, that's not a troll at all.
But I finally saw it the other day and really enjoyed it.
I don't know if you've been asked this, but how do you feel seeing such iconic characters you've created brought to life?
It's always a strange trip. It's surreal. At the beginning when Thanos first showed up in like the Infinity War and maybe before in Avengers, I figured I was going to get my 15 minutes of Andy Warhol fame.
Yeah.
And it was pass on. But I went to a convention after the first movie, after the war, and came home and I had this Late Show on tape that I wanted to watch.
Yeah.
And Stephen Colbert did a Thanos joke. And I went, this may last a little bit longer than 15 minutes. Yeah, and it keeps stretching out, and I'm waiting for the bubble to burst, but it's been kind of a fun ride while it's been going on.
And I don't see it bursting anytime soon. Again, Shang-Chi, blockbuster, did amazing numbers. Drax and Gamora, two prominent characters within the Guardians of the Galaxy universe. And, you've also done, on the other side, DC, you've written in those. You've written novels. Where do you find your inspiration?
Walking around in the woods, banging my head on the walls, drugs,
You get a lot
TV,
of
movies, just about anywhere. I mean, everything comes in and it gets perked around, and you add your own little personal hashtags to it, and it goes out again. And sometimes it comes out right, and sometimes it doesn't.
What would you say would be something that you decided to do one day? You had it. You just were like, I'm just going to sketch something out, and you saw it, and you were like, oh, I can expound on this. What was a character like
I
that?
can tell you, I got a great story for that. Back when I was doing Captain Marvel, there was a character named Eon, which is this floating thing with a face on one side and an eyeball on the other, and hair on top. And he came from me walking back from a party one night in New York City, stopping for a traffic light to wait and change. And I looked over at this bag of garbage, and there was grease stain on the side of the bag of garbage. And I went, that's pretty cool. And that was Eon. I went back and immediately added him to the story.
Yeah.
He hadn't been in the story up until that point. And that night I added him into the drawing, and he became a Marvel character. And he was from a bag of garbage.
I think that's the best way. Something made out of garbage. Like, but inspiration comes wherever you can find it.
Oh, sure.
You don't know when you're going to be inspired by something.
Well, Thanos and Eros are both from a psychology class I was taking in college.
Really?
Yeah, there was a guest speaker who came in to talk about Eros and Thanos, the dark and the light side of human nature, the Freudian concept of it. And basically, I latched onto the dark side, and Thanos came out of it, and Eros was sort of an afterthought that it was almost 30 years later I really started playing with him.
Okay.
It comes from everywhere.
And I know a lot of people ask you about Thanos because, again, the prominence in the Infinity Saga from Marvel Studios. For me, the question is, again, and it's somewhat been answered as a philosophy question, Thanos courting death and in love with death. Is that what some of the inspiration from that philosophy class that you said about? You spoke about? Excuse me.
Well, no, that was even a stranger accident. And I think the second issue of Captain Marvel I did, he shows up at the end with a Super Skrull on one side, and I put another figure there. And I went, who is that? I went on to the rest of the book, and I just sort of let that other figure. And I went, okay, we'll start putting a hood on it, and it became Death. And then after a while, I went back and then I added breasts, which weren't in the original pencil drawing, and that's sort of the genesis, and it sort of went from there. And it was sort of like Sam and Diane from Cheers.
Yeah.
The unworkable relationship. So, it's all these little things that you all put them together, and half the time you don't realize you're doing it until afterwards.
Right.
So.
And like I said, outside of Marvel and DC, Dreadstar, that just recently published, Dreadstar Returns, published this past June, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, we had it just come out this summer from Ominous. We, Jamie Jameson, who's my inker on the project, and we are partners on a lot of different things on it, and she and I are working on the second one. I have 4 pages left to do of Dreadstar versus the Inevitable, which is the next graphic novel, 100-page graphic novel. She's 30 pages into the coloring. It's all written, and we'll be doing another Kickstarter like we did with Dreadstar Returns, somewhere around March or April.
Okay.
So it's going to be the second of the 5 graphic novels we're doing together.
How does it feel expanding on a new project that many people are now finding out about? Because many people didn't know about Dreadstar, but they're like, Jim Starlin did this and this, and now he has this. How do you feel about people finding out about your new works?
Well, it's kind of cool. It's like I've been doing this for a while.
Yes.
Yeah. I hate to tell you how ancient I am, and I'm not going to.
I thought you were a spry young man at about 36. First.
Yeah. Double that exactly. And basically, it's like a whole new readership is coming in, and we did the omnibus with Dreadstar first, and that was 1,500 pages that introduces them back to people. And Dreadstar Returns wrote in such a way that anybody can come in and pick it up. You don't have to know the characters, and that's been working out nicely. And this is a continuation of that story, actually, and it's more or less my pandemic story.
Okay.
Dreadstar versus the Inevitable is not about a disease, but it's about something as undeniable and as inevitable as that disease was for us. And it's looking at it from more of a cosmic level.
That's, again, inspiration comes from wherever you can find it.
Oh, sure.
And that's amazing. Again,
and it doesn't have to be pretty.
It doesn't have to be, right? Because, again, we're talking about a bag of garbage. We're talking about a philosophy class. We're talking about a global pandemic. And out of these things, you're making so much amazing and fantastic work that myself and millions of others have enjoyed. And I want to thank you for that personally. Before I let you go.
Well, I want to thank you folks for keeping me alive. It's a symbiotic relationship. You guys get entertained, but I get to eat.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm winning on this game.
Look, your 15 minutes aren't running out anytime soon. They aren't running out anytime soon. If anybody wants to find out more about Dreadstar or yourself, how can they find that information out?
Well, I do have Instagram, but the best bet is just Google Dreadstar.
Okay.
And you can get all the books on Amazon. We're kind of Ominous, which is not going to be the publisher for the next one.
Okay.
We're starting a new company with the best people from there, and we're going to continue on with the Dreadstar through that. And we'll be doing all those announcements at the turn of the year. But in the meantime, you can get all the stuff on Amazon.
Nice. You already heard him, ladies and gentlemen. Get you Dreadstar on Amazon. Make sure you read up on some of the iconic characters he has helped to bring to life for you all. Mr. Jim Starlin, it has been an honor and a pleasure to talk with you.
It's been good.